Hey,
So
Donovan.
obviously, Kawhi is one of the elite players in the league, one of the elite two-way players, and then it seems like you get to the postseason and he just finds ways to, take his game up another level. Even, what did you see out of him in the series against the Mavericks, and kind of what are the biggest challenges that you anticipate facing from him on both ends of the court in this series?
Um, one thing I respect about Kawhi Leonard, man, obviously everybody talks about his two-way ability, which is elite, but you know, his will to win by any means necessary. There were possessions where it was guarding Luka. There were possessions where it was scoring. There were possessions where it was getting offensive rebounds, getting defensive rebounds, box outs. Like that's what leaders do, and that's what he does for that team, and he does everything. And that's a credit to him. And for us, he's going to be a tough matchup for us, but we got to go out there and understand we do what we do. At the end of the day, he's going to be. It's not just him. They have Paul, they have Marcus, they have Reggie, the guys who can really go. So for us, is just doing what we do. Understanding they're going to be physical, they're going to switch everything, they're going to play that small lineup. But we've seen it, and now we got to go out there and just execute against it.
John Kuhn, AP.
Donovan, you look at just how you guys did on the perimeter, both offensively and defensively in the first round. Going up against a team like the Clippers with the amount of length they have and the amount of good shooters they have, what do you feel like are the keys to kind of continuing that momentum and being able to impose your will on the perimeter, both offensively and defensively?
I think you got to be sharper. Everything we did with Memphis has just got to be even sharper. There's certain passing angles, driving, understanding they're going to help from certain places, understanding where they're going to be on the offensive end, and you got to be sharper mentally, physically. The pass has got to be on point. We got to take our shots. We can't pass up looks against this team because they're great at recovering and scrambling, and they got 6'8", 6'9", 6'6", whatever. You know what I mean? And then the wingspans are there too. So they're called their small lineup, but it's just because they don't have a 7-footer out there. But at the end of the day, they're really good at scrambling and being able to recover. So for us, it's like we got to be able to execute through that, play through that. Defensively, they can score many different ways. At the end of the day, it comes down to those two and Paul George and Kawhi, but understanding that Reggie can get going, Marcus can get going, Batum, everybody. So for us, it's like, okay, how do we stay locked in and stay solid? And we did a good job of that against Memphis, outside of really game one. But now it's, at an even higher level, and understand that it's not going to be just for a quarter, 2 quarters. There's certain things we got away with in the first series that we won't be able to get away with this series defensively. So understanding that we got to be on point every minute of the game, every minute of the series.
Sarah Todd Deseret News.
Donovan, you've talked to us before about the value of being able to watch Mike Conley and have him on your team and learn from what he does on the court. Where would you put that? I mean, if you're looking at how you're growing and your growth year after year, being able to even just sit next to him on the bench and talk to him about what's going on, especially during the postseason, how valuable is that to your game?
Huge. I think, it's there are times where it's like, it's talks that are pretty lengthy, but then there are times where it's like little tidbits, like, Sarah likes to jump to your right hand, like little stuff like that, just so like, and like, oh shoot, like you're thinking about it on the fly, like little things like that he'll give you. Myself, being able to sit by him in the locker room, being able to play Xbox with him, like, just forming that bond early was huge. And then we became real cool and started just going over so many different things in the game of basketball and what he saw. And he's been to the playoffs, I think 8 or 9 times in his career. So he's seen a lot, he's seen, he was part of the team that the 8 seed that beat the 1 seed. So when we played Memphis, he had so many things, not just for myself, but for the team of what he's seen and how it went down and how they're feeling going into game 1 and game 2, coming into this series, you know what I mean? So like for us, for me, it helps me tremendously, being able to just kind of like a calming, cooling presence, regardless if we're up, down, whatever it is. And, never see Mike have a bad day either, which definitely keeps the mood light. And, he's a great teammate and, a great person. And I'm thankful to have him. I think we all are. But for me personally, I think it's big for my growth, like you said, in my development in many different ways.
Rebecca Harlow, TNT.
Donovan, looking forward to working with you again. just curious, the sense of urgency that your team showed in that first round was pretty clear. How much does that stem from the way things ended in the bubble? I know you took going up 3-1 and then losing really hard, but in some ways, has that added to the chip, or has that made you guys even better because you went through that and don't want to go through it again?
Right. In some respects, I've talked about it pretty much every interview, but in some respects, I say it was good that it happened, because you learn a lot from losses. You learn a lot more, I would say, because if we were able to get away with not paying attention to the small details and winning that series, not saying we wouldn't be the same team we are today, not saying that, but, you definitely have a different chip, different edge to you. So going up 3-1 against Memphis, we made it a statement from the beginning that we were going to come out and play a certain way. And we didn't really have to say it. It's kind of just like one thing we just do, which means everybody 1 through 17 was on the same page, which is great because that means we're all locked in and have the same goal. Understand we all felt the same hurt, from last year. It wasn't just me, or it wasn't just Rudy, or it wasn't just Mike or Joe. We all felt that, so we understood that. So now coming into this series, we kind of still carry that, understanding that, all right, we won the series, but that we were up 3-1. Like, that's not the goal. Like, the goal is to continue to win and continue to play deeper into this playoffs and get to a championship. So not being satisfied, I think, is one of the biggest things with us. And I think with the team like the Clippers, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but understanding that we got to be resilient. If we get up, understand that we got to do the things that we continue to do at a high level. And even if we get down, we got to raise our level and continue to go out there and be the team that we've been all year. And that's pretty much been our mindset.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com.
Donovan, I know playoffs are always about adjustments, but it seems like historically, from an outsider's perspective, the best team in the NBA or the best teams always kind of dictate how the playoffs go and kind of how the games are played. As the best team in the NBA this year, do you guys feel like you have that advantage, even if it's just psychological?
I think for us, like I was just saying to Rebecca, I think being able to show our resilience through the season, through the first round, it just gives you a confidence going into a series, understanding that this is what we are, this is what we do, and understanding that we got to keep that level, and coming fresh off a loss. And last year, we understand that it's so fresh in our mind that we're at a point where it's we don't want to go back to that. And I think that helps more so than what you're saying, in my opinion. I think understanding that, yeah, we're the best team in the NBA and there's a swagger that comes behind that too, but understanding that we just felt the loss before and we don't want to go back to that feeling just because we won a series. It's not the end all. So for us, it's, yeah, we're the number one team in the regular season, but at the end of the day, it's like a high school kid, number one ranked kid going to college. It doesn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, those rankings, everything starts over at 0-0. They won a series. We won a series. All right, we won in 5, they won in 7. So at the end of the day, it's 0-0. None of that stuff before matters. We got to go in there and lace them up and get ready to go.
Dana Green, ABC4.
Hey, Donovan, after your first game in the Memphis series, you expressed some dissatisfaction of having 0 assists, and then you went to 5 and then 8 and then 10. Was that kind of a conscious decision, a conscious choice on your part, or did those opportunities just present themselves, or do you expect to continue at that level of distribution?
Yeah, for me, the first game was it was a point to be proven. You know what I mean? It was my head. Oh, man, sorry. My goal was to go out there and just try to attack. I hadn't played in 40 days, and I was really just so excited to be back. You know what I mean? I missed so many easy reads because I hadn't played. So it's different. And then you get out there, you watch the film, and I get mad at myself because I'm damn, Royce is open 3 or 4 times in a row. There's no way I missed that. Finding that. So coming into game 3, it was okay, this is what's going to be there. I told Royce, I told God, this is what's going to be there. I'm going to drive. Because they're expecting me to do what I did in game 1 and come out and try and score. Now you're going to be open. And then it became, okay, now being able to find both and manipulate the offense, understand. Now I know how they're playing me. Now I'm kind of getting a little bit of a rhythm, understanding, okay, I'm going to get to the basket. This is going to be there. The ball fake here, that's going to be there. So as the series went on, it just went back to my film watching and just understand of playing the game of basketball and continuing to find my rhythm. That's really all it is. But the first game back, you're just a kid in a candy shop. You're just out there playing in front of the home fans, playing a playoff game, and just happy to be there. And, and then it's okay, now you're being tactical with your approach and how you go about things and understand where guys are going to be.
Mark Medina, USA Today.
Hi, Donovan. Good to see you. I was wondering, how would you compare what the mental toll of this unique season has been like compared to the bubble? And what was your approach in kind of navigating the unique challenges of the season?
In a sense, the beginning of the year, I think, was similar to the bubble because really a lot of the year for me, because I didn't really like go anywhere. I don't think a lot of us went anywhere. And then not just here, but in the league. So I think it was kind of similar in that sense. You know, the only difference was the travel. So you would travel and then you pretty much be like locked down in a hotel room, you know. So at the end of the day from the bubble, you'd go play, you drive and go play at the arena and then drive back to the hotel and that'd be that. So this season I think was tough, but for me it was just like I have film and I had Xbox. So I had that to kind of keep my mind distracted. So for me, that's really what it was. It's definitely unique and interesting, but you know, as things are starting to change throughout the league, the protocols, the rules are starting to change. It's become a little bit easier, I think, in my opinion. But the playoffs are going to be tough in general, regardless. And you know, having the fans back, having that element back, and that feel, I think, definitely kind of brings life just throughout the league in general. For me, I think, you know, it's like I'm not too far removed from being in a college dorm in a high school, in a boarding school where I had a prep school. So I was pretty much in my room doing the same thing I'm doing now anyway after a basketball game. So kind of going back to my roots, as I would say. So it wasn't that hard for me, but I definitely think it's challenging in some instances for sure.
Rebecca Harlow, TNT.
All right, yeah, Donovan, you averaged a point a minute in that last series, which in a playoff scenario is so difficult to do. I mean, there's so few NBA players ever who have been able to do that. In your fourth year now, what do you think it is that you've learned that's gotten you to a place where you are so efficient, even when you're in a scenario where an entire team is focused on taking you out of the game?
I think it goes back to what I was saying before. I think first off, you're seeing playoff basketball for the fourth straight year. You know, I think over time you look at guys like Bron, Chris Paul, Steph, like KD, like those guys are really good in the playoffs because Kawhi, like those guys are good in the playoffs because they've seen it year after year after year. It's like, you know, after a while, the coverages, you know, don't change. You know, you understand the guy's tendencies at this point. Now you know what you can get to, what you're capable of, how you can get there, slowing the game down yourself. You're seeing everything at a different pace than I was last year, the year before that, you know. So for me, and then on top of that, taking the film work to a higher level too. So understanding that, you know, it's good to watch the good highlights, but you also got to watch the ones where it's like, man, I missed this, or man, I missed that. I got to see this. This is what's going to be there if I attack there. And you know, being able to pick other players and watch how they attack those defenses, and then you implement that into your own game. So you pretty much do all that, you know, for 4 years straight. It's starting to slow down. Everything starts to change for you. And then also being able to hit shots, and that reps. Those are reps throughout the summer. Continue to rep those out. Continue to go out there and rep those out every day. And then the reads and everything else will come throughout the year and throughout the years of playing. And in the playoffs, everything's kind of slowed down, which makes the game, like I always say, more tactical and more mental. And it really goes down to how experience and going down to how you can slow the game down and how you can make reads for others and make reads for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Donovan.
All right, we have time for one last question. It's a follow-up from Sarah Todd.
Don, I just wanted to get an update on how the ankle is feeling after that first round and last couple of days of practice, how it's going.
It's good. I'm ready to go. The time off was great, but I definitely missed playing. But, you know, ankle feels good and ready to go.
All right, that's it. Thanks so much, Donovan.
Thank you.